Go to the NBA, and after going 1-3 since LeBron returned to the lineup, Luka and the Lakers have now won back-to-back games. They now just sit 2.5 games back of the Rockets for the 2 seed and face them again on April the 11th. Lakers also hosting the Warriors this Thursday and face the Thunder twice on the road next week. NBA analyst Danny Green joining us now. Danny, what jumped out to you about the Lakers last night when you were watching them play?
Well, both teams didn't shoot great to start the game, but what showed me is that they have the help that they need. Luka and Bron and Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith, they gave you some looks of what they can do for that type of team. Off the bench, their bench production was really good. Obviously, it's something that's tough to do for every game in a 7-game series, but these guys can get you a game or two, which is all you need when you have that big three. So with how they produced offensively off the bench, and then defensively, they played great. They rotated, they moved around, they were on a string. Bron at the 5 made some great defensive plays, but the others really stepped up last night, and I was impressed by that.
All right, we just went through what the upcoming schedule looks like. What do you hope to learn about Los Angeles during this final stretch of the season?
I mean, this is gut check time, right? It's money time. We want to see who's in rhythm, who's making their stride, and for them, are they going to get back to the defensive position that they were in 20 games ago before LeBron got hurt? So I want to see how well they pick it up, what the effort is like, and how efficient they can be in doing so with the small ball theme. So I'm looking for them. Obviously, they're big three to score well, but defensively is a big key for them and how they can rotate and see what JJ can lift them up to be.
All right, Danny Green, appreciate you. See you back a little later in the show.
Thank you.
All right. The NBA today
have an opportunity to not only make the playoffs, but want to keep their seeding pretty high. I think LeBron might have came back a little early, and due to him still being injured and hampered just a little bit, I think it might be affecting his play in not only shot selection, but those shots actually going in. I could be wrong. But I just think he might have came back a tad bit too early when he's not really ready.
Well, he's not as explosive. He's not able to finish like he once could. He's missing some gimmies. And so the thing is, he's really nursing it because he don't want to do anything sudden and retweak it.
Right.
And so, hopefully as he plays, he doesn't have a setback and he's able to finish out the season as healthy as he's going to be. But normally when LeBron has an injury this late in the season, your body doesn't heal as well as it once did. And we've seen it. He had the ankle injury. He wasn't the same. He had the groin injury before. He wasn't the same. But the thing is now he has Luka. He has AR who can help do some of the lifting. You got 3 guys. You got 1, 2. You got, 5 guys in double figures. You got 3 guys that score at least 20. LeBron had 16. AR had 12. You can win with that, but I think the thing is you can win with that bench play, but obviously LeBron, Luka, AR know they're going to have to score more than 48. They scored 85 the other night in Memphis on the road.
Right.
They scored 48. They scored 48 tonight and find a way to get a win against a very good Houston team. Young, but very good.
Listen, against a very young, good Houston team, but you have to think, the further you get into the playoffs, you're going to be playing against teams that are much better.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to find ways to dig down, to dig deep, and you can't have games where you score 48, you score 85 one night, you score 48 the next. Because you're not going to be able to get away with that the better the teams are that you play as you get further into the playoffs.
This is a young, athletic team. They're not a whole – you got Van Fleet, but you look at Thompson. Brooks is fairly young. Jalen Green, hell, he might not be but 21, 22 years of age. Jabari Smith.
Wait.
Huh?
He that young?
Hell yeah. I think he might be 22. How old is Jalen Green? Jabari Smith Jr., he can't be no more than 22, 20. He might not even be but 20. Jalen Green is 23. How old is Jabari Smith? Jabari Smith might be 20, 21 at the oldest. See, they're a really young team. A really young team that they like to get up and down, but because of their head coach, who's a defensive guy, they get into you. Right. They'll D you up. They'll pick you up 54. They make it tough. They don't want to give anything. They don't want to give any free entry passes. They'll overplay. They'll deny. They play a physical brand of basketball. They got Big Steven Adams in there.
Big Steve.
Yeah, he does a great job on the glass. Good in the pick and roll. Ja is kind of missing him because he and Ja had a great connection. I think Zach Edey will get that down into years to come. But I like the way the Lakers played tonight, especially in the second half. Found a way to win ball games, and this is what you have to do. Even when you're not playing your best, Ocho, find a way to win the ball game. Yeah. So that big old block, LeBron knew that Sengun had the mismatch on Austin Reeves, and so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna cheat this. So hey, Houston, y'all got an amen, but they call me the benediction. What? This thing over. Get it up out of here. So Benediction James did it and did what he needed to do. He came and got the ball on the free throws. He made both free throws. Obviously, then they forced a miss at the other end. Finney Smith got the rebound, and that was the end of the ball game. But the Lakers played well. They won the ball game. And this is look, they got some tough games to close out. They got OKC twice.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. There's a lot of NBA stuff to get into, make no mistake about that, particularly with the fight for the Western Conference playoff seedings, because that's exactly where I want to go. Here's a look at the current seeding out west, where the Denver Nuggets are currently the 3rd seed, the Lakers are the 4th seed, and the Golden State Warriors are currently at 6th. So we could be looking at a scenario where LeBron and Steph face each other in the first round. And that could be a dilemma for the fans and the league. And here's where I'm going with this. At some point in time, we got to make a decision, ladies and gentlemen. Think about the scenario here. Let's say, for example, that the Golden State Warriors hold on to the 6th seed in the Western Conference. They would possibly face Denver, who's a 3 seed, right? But if they moved up to the 5th seed because Memphis is sliding after letting go of their coach, Taylor Jenkins, they don't look great. They've lost the last 2 games or so. If Golden State finds a way to inch up to the 5th seed and the Lakers stay at the 4th seed, that's LeBron James and the Lakers versus Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors in the first round. It guarantees one of them gets to the second round, but it also guarantees that one of them is bounced out in the first round. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer LeBron going up against, say, the Clippers, going up against, say, the Minnesota Timberwolves with Ant-Man in the first round? Do you prefer that with the possibility of advancing to the second round while Golden State goes up against somebody like Denver? They'd be undersized, but nevertheless, with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and what they could do together, if they were fortunate enough to knock off Denver, then you get to the second round as well. Or do you want LeBron and Steph to face one another and one of them go home in the first round? I'm not going to lie to you. I like that scenario better because I don't know if I could bet on the Golden State Warriors to beat the Denver Nuggets. When Jokic or Jamal Murray are out of the lineup, or both of them, Denver ain't the same. But when they're in the lineup, they're league leaders in field goal percentage shooting. They're one of the better three-point shooting teams. Oh, by the way, they're top-notch in fast break points, for crying out loud. This is what they bring to the table. And they got a championship pedigree. I don't know if I want to bet my money on Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors knocking off those brothers in Denver, particularly with Denver having a home court advantage in a first-round playoff series. A Game 7 would be back in the Mile High City. I don't know about that. So we might have to settle on Steph Curry and LeBron James going up against one another and advancing, with one of them definitively advancing out of the first round. And oh, by the way, in that series, I would still go with the Lakers. Even though Golden State could beat them, I would say the Lakers have to be the favorites. Here's my personal preference, though. No matter what happens, I want Ant-Man to go as deep as he could go. I want to see Ant-Man. I want to see Anthony Edwards. That's who the hell I want to see, okay? I just want to make sure that I'm clear about that before we move on to my next subject. Y'all can sit up there. We'll take a poll. Y'all can sit up there and express to us what y'all think. Who would y'all rather see? Would you rather see LeBron and Steph in the first round against one another? Or do you want to see them going against different opponents so they could possibly both advance beyond the first round? Is that your preference? Or is the preference them going up against one another? Just let a brother know. Just let a brother know. I'm about to ask this next brother this question, because he is my next guest, talented actor, best known for his role as Lawrence on HBO's hit series Insecure. Since then, he's starred in a string of hit TV shows and films, including his latest called Freaky Tales, which hits theaters on April 4th. My brother, the one and only Jay Ellis, in the house. What's up, big time? How you doing, man? How's everything?
My guy, what's good, bro?
It's good to see you. By the way, tell everybody that, first of all, how tall are you? I was with you about 2 weeks ago. You're about legit 6'3", 6'4", right? You're about 6'4", ain't you?
Yeah, About 6'4". I
All right.
think that's what they call it.
That's
Yeah.
right. And you interned with the Portland Trailblazers before you became this star on television and film. You were a damn intern with the Portland Trailblazers, were you not?
Yeah, man. I was there for the 02-03 season, the Jailblazers season, man. Mo Cheeks was the coach.
Oh,
you
yeah.
obviously know that roster,
That's right.
but yeah, I was there for all the trouble, man.
There we go. And so that means you know your basketball. So you heard what I said. You heard what I broke down. If you had your druthers, knowing that you out in Southern California, but you're very familiar with the Bay, etc., what scenario would you want most? Would you want LeBron and Steph going up against one another in the first round? Will one of them definitively advance beyond the first round? Or do you want to take the risk of them going against somebody else and both of them getting bounced out?
I like to see them both get deeper. That's a great team, man. So I'm not sure that's who they want to see in the first round for sure. So, I think you're right. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's great for the game to go see, the Warriors and the Lakers slug it out in the first round.
So you're good with them and at least knowing that one of them will advance past the first round, right?
Yeah, man, listen, this is playoff basketball as we know it. And these are two great teams. And so, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I think the series will go longer than what some people might expect it to go. But, I think that's the basketball that we want to see. And that's why we sign up and that's why we watch and that's why we show up to these stadiums and these arenas to see games like this.
Are you sure it's fair to classify both of them as great when you talk about them as teams? I know they're good. But great, we know great teams when we see them. Do you really feel both of them are great?
Here's what I think. Boston is great. Oklahoma City is great, right? We know what the top of the pack looks like. We know that for sure. Like there's no questions about that. Here's what you can't do though. You can't count either of these teams out. You can't count the experience out. You can't count the pedigree out. And so I think these teams have had flashes of greatness and can be great. Sustaining that over the playoffs obviously is tough, and that's what basketball is about.
Would you be excited about a Boston?
I'd love to see OKC make a run. I think Boston, will get there. I'm excited to see them back and see them defending their championship. It would be fun to see OKC, you know what I mean? Especially as an Oklahoma boy, I grew up in Tulsa. So, it'd be fun to see OKC, go in there and have a real shot. That team is special, man. Like you look at that team, like those guys are really special. They really show up I was listening this morning, man. They might mess around and win 70 games.
Yeah.
Like this is a really great team. And I do think it would be fun to go watch a team where everybody is locked arms, you know what I'm saying, going to play basketball. It'd be fun to see them get there. There's some other teams that I might like to get there, but, it'd be fun to watch.
Let me tell you what I shared before we get into you a little bit more. Let me tell you what I shared about this season. First of all, I don't want as much as popular and as much of a bonanza in the ratings it would be for the Lakers to go up against Boston. The reason I don't want to see that series is because I believe the Los Angeles Lakers would get slaughtered by the Boston Celtics. I don't think that's a match they're made for. They're built for that. I don't think so. I just don't like that for the Lakers. I want a competitive NBA Finals. I don't want some lopsided affair where you're lucky to see you win a game. I think Boston would destroy them. Here's what I would tell you is my most attractive proposition in terms of interest. As great as the Oklahoma City Thunder are, those young thoroughbreds led by SGA, who's my MVP this year, by the way, the brother spectacular. Let me tell you what my matchup is. Could you imagine if it was LeBron James and Luka and the Lakers going to Cleveland to try to stop Cleveland from capturing the championship? LeBron having to stop Cleveland from winning the championship. To me, that could be an epic matchup. What do you say to that?
No, that's a lot of fun, man. I mean, obviously to see him have to go back home and win a championship would be amazing. That Cleveland team also, bro. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a phenomenal team from 1 through 12, bro. Everybody shows up and plays their part. That would be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously the storylines would be great, you know what I mean, in terms of all the other things that come with it. But the basketball, the style of play for those two teams, it would be a lot of fun to watch them go up against each other. But you can't count out a Boston Lakers.
No, I'm not.
You know what I mean? Like that's basketball.
I mean,
man.
that's basketball, and I'm not. I think Boston's the best team in the NBA, and they should repeat. You got to bet your money on them. I'm just talking about. I think that the Lakers are no match for them, whereas they're a better match for Cleveland. And so
They are
because
better
of
match for
it,
Cleveland. I agree with that.
it would make for an epic matchup. Whereas I think Boston against LA, that series ends in 5. That's my problem. I want a 7-game series for the finals. I want a game 7 of an NBA Finals, a championship on the line. It's 48 minutes away. Everybody got to show up. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, listen. I think again, will it get to 7? I don't know, but I think LeBron and Luka could pull something out. You know what I'm saying? That maybe we wouldn't have expected. But you're right. I think a Cleveland Lakers matchup is a lot more fun to watch. It's a lot more even. Again, the style of play of those two teams, it would be fun. The storylines, it would be fun.
Right.
That'd be fun to watch, man. I also would love to watch Donovan get there, man. I think Donovan is a guy he's a stud, bro.
No
and
doubt.
I think, he's kind of was overlooked in Utah, even though he was doing the thing in Utah as well. And obviously he's flourished in Cleveland. So we'd love to see him get there.
Let me transition to you, man, because I got to get to some of the things that you're doing. That's why